to wrest human souls from the grip of the demon, to defeat the temptation within our own hearts and minds. There is a grace and a grandeur to the work of the Malleus and Hereticus, but the Ordo Xenos, it has no more gravitas than hacking away weeds in one's garden. By all means, pursue your grace, grandeur, and gravitas then, sir, and in your prayers tonight, ask that your temptation to those things be lifted from your weak and sinning mind, so that you might feel some humility in the presence of those who ensure your garden remains safe to parade all your fine qualities in. From an apocryphal exchange between Inquisitors Bifon and Marinus. The Ordo Xenos was created in the mid-32nd millennium, though in fact the Inquisition had been founded over 1,000 standard years earlier in the early 31st millennium at the express order of the Emperor after the great betrayal of the Horus Heresy had begun. The Inquisition was initially a relatively small, highly secretive organization comprising only a small group of skilled Imperial agents drawn from all of the Imperial Adepta and nobility, as well as select Loyalist Space Marines from both the Loyalist and Traitor Legions. They were tasked by the Emperor and chosen by Melchador the Sigillite at the end of the heresy with uncovering and destroying every threat to the Imperium of Man from both without and within, but with a special emphasis on defeating the Servants of Chaos. The original recruits for this newly created elite force were drawn from the survivors of the various chapters who took part in the initial invasion of the Beast's capital world of Ullanor Prime. These chapters suffered severe losses during the invasion, thus standing in vigil over their fallen brethren. The seeds of the Deathwatch were sown. Lord Commander Corland eventually came to an agreement with the inquisitorial representative Vinand to assuage any doubts by the rest of the Senatorum Imperialis that this elite force, named the Deathwatch in honor of those brethren who had died in battle on Ullanor Prime, would fall under the purview of the Inquisition, but an Astartes would ultimately serve as its chapter master. It was in the wake of the War of the Beast that the Inquisition itself was formally divided into the first two of the Ordos Majoris, the Ordo Malleus and the Ordo Xenos. The Deathwatch was chosen to be an integral part of the newborn Ordo Xenos and serve as its chamber militant, the way the Grey Knights served as the chamber militant of the demon-hunting Ordo Malleus. The Ordo Xenos could also be said to have gradually evolved before its formal recognition in the wake of the War of the Beast from that group of Inquisitors who were primarily interested in investigating and studying the alien species of the Milky Way galaxy and eliminating any threat to the Imperium that these Xenos represented. The Inquisitors of the Ordo Xenos accept responsibility for protecting humanity from the predations of hostile aliens. To most of the Imperium, the alien is an abomination, a heathen who desires humanity's destruction and who must be slain for the good of mankind. Most Inquisitors share this view and pursue the alien to the point of extinction if they can. Some aliens are a threat to the Imperium in a military sense, invading large swaths of Imperial space, ransacking planets, and killing or enslaving the inhabitants. The green-skinned rampaging orcs and voracious Tyranids are chief among these large-scale threats. The Astra Militarum and Avis Imperialis are the main weapons deployed against these Xenos hordes, and the Imperium's war zones are constantly ablaze with battles against them. This Ordo is instrumental in leading the Imperium's military forces against major Xenos invasions, gathering intelligence and deploying troops. An Inquisitor in this position makes decisions that can cost millions of lives, and he or she must be prepared to go further than even the most hard-hearted Astra Militarum general or Navy admiral in stemming the alien tide. Some of the Ordos' greatest Inquisitors, such as the legendary Inquisitor Lord Fidus Cryptman, have sacrificed entire worlds to deny them to alien forces. The tactics of the Ordo's Inquisitors and their retinues vary depending on the situation and the level of alien taint revealed. Where the threat is subtle, they will use guile and stealth, wielding their power as if it was a scalpel used to cut out a growing malignant cancer. When the alien menace is great, the Inquisitor can commandeer the aid of entire regiments of the Astra Militarum, as well as having the capacity to command the Imperium's military forces. The Ordo Xenos also have access to the Ordo's Chamber Militant, the Deathwatch Space Marines. The Deathwatch is an unusual chapter that draws its members from the veteran members of other chapters of the Adeptus Astartes, with Astartes serving the Deathwatch for a set period of time before returning to their original chapters. Most Space Marine chapters are a part of this ancient agreement, sending Space Marines with the most appropriate skills to be trained and equipped for a term of service as specialized alien hunters under the command of the Ordo Xenos. A kill team of Deathwatch Space Marines is invaluable when an Inquisitor comes to exterminate an alien infestation, investigate a potentially deadly alien world, or eliminate a particularly loathsome Xenos creature. Some Deathwatch squads are placed at the disposal of an entire inquisitorial conclave dedicated to the protection of a single Imperial sector, but most of them are appointed to the retinue of a particular Inquisitor until their mission is complete. While many Ordo Xenos Inquisitors believe that all aliens must be killed, this is not true for all of them. Some believe that if an intelligent alien species does not wish the Imperium harm and does not move against Imperial interests, then cooperating with them is not out of the question. Some aliens possess technology that far surpasses the Imperium's own, such as the elegant digital weapons made by the ape-like Jokeiro, and trading for such technology may be to the Imperium's benefit. Furthermore, the Imperium shares common enemies with some Xenos species, and alliances between Imperial and alien forces are sometimes a necessity. Some Ordo Xenos Inquisitors actively foster these alliances, believing that their superior knowledge of alien methods and mindsets negates the risks of collaborating with Xenos. These beliefs are considered radical among the Ordo Xenos and their adherents can be shunned or even hunted down by their brother Inquisitors. Nevertheless, the contact an Ordo Xenos Inquisitor has with alien species can impart a belief that some of them can be used, not just destroyed by the Imperium. The Void is an unutterably vast and inhuman place, a place of ancient dangers and unknown perils. In this cold darkness have bred things as obscene, terrible, and dangerous as any demon of the warp. In the face of such dire knowledge, you must hold on to this single truth. It is mankind's destiny to rule the stars and rule them alone. From Lord Inquisitor Nail, a discursive primer for initiates of the Ordo Xenos, Volume 1. The primary remit of the Ordo Xenos is to defend the Imperium against the threat of the alien, a duty that goes far beyond merely confronting non-human creatures in open conflict alongside the Astra Militarum or Adeptus Astartes. In order to oppose the Xenos threat, the Ordo Xenos must undertake the dangerous task of investigating and studying intelligent alien species with a mind to destroying any that is deemed to be a threat to humanity. It must learn the nature of its inhuman foes, seek out their weaknesses, and learn how to counter their strengths. More than this, it must be ever watchful, not only against what lies in the void beyond, but against other, often more subtle and insidious threats that arise much closer to home. Such threats are often posed by renegade humans, some corrupt, others merely opportunistic. Such individuals are known to trade in alien technology or seek to hide alien species within the Imperium's midst, often for the purposes of experimentation, profit, or bloody entertainment. Many of the Ordo Xenos' operations are not focused outward but inward on the Imperium itself, and with good cause. The Ordo's records are littered with bloody atrocities and vast losses of life that have resulted where the alien has taken hold of an Imperial world via stealth, infiltration, or slow taint, as well as countless incidents where the influence of alien technology, misunderstood artifacts, and Xenos lore have resulted in unintended disaster and tragic consequence. Within the Calixis sector, the job of the Ordo Xenos is a particularly complex and difficult one. This challenge is in no small part because the sector itself lies on the very edge of the Imperium. It is a borderland flanked for much of its perimeter by the uncharted void of space beyond the Emperor's light. No complete or even meaningful control can be kept over this vast open border, and human and alien vessels can pass largely unobserved and unchallenged despite the best efforts of Battle Fleet Calixis and the Imperial listening stations. This dark horizon is crossed regularly by rogue traders, the explorator fleets of the Adeptus Mechanicus, and even by smaller independent merchant and prospecting vessels quite legitimately. Where such legal traffic ends and outlaw traffic begins is often a blurred line. Each one of these is a vector, a means by which the alien and alien influences can flow like poison to the Imperium's veins, and the eyes of the Ordo Xenos cannot be everywhere at once. Although all aliens are officially viewed as anathema by the Imperium, some are tolerated to a lesser degree. Such species tend to be primitive in technology and culture, or constrained to a backwater planet far from Imperial space. In many parts of the Imperium, contact with star-faring alien species is not uncommon, and on some frontier worlds, trading with them is a fact of life. Such dealings are usually overlooked by the authorities and would certainly not warrant censorship or intervention. Other species, however, represent such a threat to humanity that the Ordo Xenos brand them with a high Gothic stigma, the Xenos Horrificus, marking them as a high-priority target who must be hunted down and purged at every opportunity. The brand does not merely apply to the Xenos themselves, but also to any who have had dealings with them. More than one rogue trader has been branded with the mark of the Xenos Horrificus, marking him out as an enemy of the Ordo Xenos, the Deathwatch, and mankind itself. When the alien threat is too great for even the requisitioned Astra Militarum or Planetary Defense Force troops of the Inquisition to handle, the Inquisitor will call on the elite battle brothers of the Deathwatch, the chamber militant of the Ordo Xenos, who operate in kill teams made up of elite, veteran Astartes from all of the Space Marine chapters in the Imperium. All Deathwatch members wear black power armor, except for one shoulder plate which bears the colors of their original chapter, so as not to dishonor their power armor's machine spirit, and the other is emblazoned with the unique chapter badge of the Deathwatch. Certain chapters make for great Xeno hunters, like the Ultramarines with their long and infamous experience with the Tyranids during the Battle of Makridge, or the Crimson Fists with their experience against the Orcs during the Battle of Rin's World. The Ordo Xenos is well known for either being extremely ponderous in its operations or extremely quick to act. A major example of their slowness to act was when the Tau first made contact with Imperial planetary governors on the eastern fringe of the galaxy, and these aliens' advanced technology was allowed to penetrate all the way to Terra through the Imperial trade routes, as their technology was brought and sold by Imperial merchants. However, at times, the Ordo Xenos can truly bring the Emperor's justice to those alien species who seek to challenge human domination of the galaxy. A prime example of which was seen during the Damocles Gulf Crusade, in which an Ordo Xenos-led Navis Imperialis battle group spearheaded an Imperial crusade deep into Tau space. Although its progression slowed to halt when they reached Dal Eth, one of the core set worlds of the Tau Empire. It is worth noting that with the arrival of Hive Fleet Behemoth in the galaxy from the intergalactic void, the forces of the Damocles Crusade were forced to withdraw from their siege of Dal Eth to attend to that first massive Tyranid invasion. The Deathwatch kill teams may specialize in defending or attacking any known alien race, including the Tau, Tyranids, Necrons, Orcs, or even Eldari. It depends upon the experience of the team. A kill team can be composed of groups of 5, 10 or even 20 Astartes in rare cases, depending on the size and scope of the alien problem. In extreme circumstances, they will operate alongside other armies of the Imperium, including Astra Militarum regiments under inquisitorial control, or even elements of other Space Marine chapters that have responded to the Inquisition's request for assistance. When a battle brother leaves the Deathwatch after his term of service to return to his original chapter, he gains the honor of keeping the Deathwatch's silver badge on his power armor's left shoulder plate.